Hello everyone and welcome to the beautiful Cudmore Fisheries we're on Panama Canal today, formerly known as Brewster's. Now, I hadn't really done much filming on it, to be fair, and it's probably my favourite lake on the whole complex. I say that about every single lake on this complex, but the beauty of this lake is it's carp, and that's what I want to go into a little bit of detail with you today about how to approach these sort of snake lakes which have just got carp in. It's got like the odd babby eyed, few skimmers. I don't think there's any F1s left in it anymore, but what it is, it's got a similar stocking level to Arena, and that's got like 4,000 or 5,000 carp in, just ridiculous fishing. And these are exactly the same strain that went in there, but they sort of get overlooked, you know. They don't really have matches on this lake anymore. They have the odd sort of pensioners matches every Tuesday and odd Thursday, but the trouble with this lake, it's susceptible to the wind, so you get a lot of anglers not wanting to fish where the fish are, and that is right across where you lot are, or where Zolt is quite handily placed himself. I promise I won't ping bait at you, Zolt, later on. Now, what you've got to consider on these kind of waters, first and foremost, is the area where you're going to target. Now, for me, any snake lake up and down the country, and that's the thing, I will waffle a bit, folks, you've got to watch me. You've got to consider what kind of banking you've got. Now, on here, there's not a peg on this lake, and there's 24 pegs on it. There's not one peg where I can get into shallow water and bare banking. So all your sort of like your little babby, you know, 414s, rugby ball kind of floats with little babby up lengths and all your shot down, they're no good on these kind of waters. Even down the edge, you know, you see it's like really overgrown because it's just been left to its own devices. And I think that's why these fish are absolutely thriving. They're just immaculate in like proper angry, not really been caught before. So when you hook something, you know, the proper go off the, I won't say the word, but yeah, proper angry fish. So first things first, consider what you're fishing to. Now, because it's reeds, then obviously plumbing up wise, check what depth it is. If you've got sort of 3 foot plus into reeds, you're always going to catch shallow. Certainly this time of year, so from April all the way through till we get the first frost, September time, whenever that may be, you first and foremost must be fishing shallow. Having said that, even all through winter, you'll catch a form of shallow, and that's by dobbing, you know, dobbing bread, dobbing maggots, or just dobbing a pellet. That's how all the fish get caught on here. You catch. The trouble with fishing down the middle, it's very, very silty, and you'll find that on a lot of these venues, these snake lake venues that are really well established. Put any amount of bait in here. In fact, I'm going to put some in now. I'm not putting any in yet. I'm going to put some in down the middle just to show you how quick things will happen and how quick fish will fizz on that. So hopefully we'll be able to get Zolt to zoom in later on that. The trouble with fishing on that is obviously the fish erupt in the bottom and they just can't see your hook bait. Obviously conditions like this where it's overcast, you will catch fish there, but by far the best option, I've got a fish swirl in there now, is to fish shallow. Now what I'm going to use today is like a bit of a hybrid rig, if you like. So I'm going to be using one, it's got a long lash, pole tip to float, sort of 3 foot if you like. And what I'm going to be doing across there, when I'm going to be pinging my 4mm pellet, is constantly lifting it every sort of second, 2 seconds, pretty much like you would do for F1 fishing. But the difference between F1 fishing and carp shallow fishing is the distance of line between your pole tip and float. Yeah, F1s, it's all about getting as short as possible. If you're allowed to overshot. Carp, completely the opposite. Long bit of line, keeping that pole well away, and then I can use the same rig, because this is a bit of a hybrid one, as a little babby flip rig, if you like. So if I see any fish cruising, which they love coming up in the water here, there's one here just sort of like 11 metres out. I want to go for him, folks. You know, it allows you to do that. So first things first, consider what you're fishing on. I want to be fishing across because it's where I've got the depth, but it's the cover. The fish absolutely adore cover. The next thing is your gear. Now, we'll go through pole first. Now, I'm using the Superior Carp today simply because it's angry fishing. Yeah, my X90 would cope with it, no trouble at all, but because I'm putting a lot of punishment on it, you know, I might want to put another section on, go further down the canal to mug these fish, you are going to be using pretty heavy elastic. So first things first is a carp pole. I'm only at 13 metres because the reeds are sort of like 2 metres out from the bank. So rigs wise, could not be any simpler, folks, but it's proper angry. Not like my usual, you know, refined way of fishing, if you like. I'm just going to get some bait in over there where Zolt is. Well, not where he is, but like in like the area. I promise I won't get you, Zolt. Oh, sorry, I went a bit far then. Sorry, Zolt, I did get him. Yeah, we'll come to feeding later on, but already I can see them reeds flickering, so I know there's fish over there. Right, so most important thing is elastic wise. Now, we do currently do sort of like another 2 elastics heavier than this one. This is the 19s Dura, the hybrid elastic. Because I'd already put this elastic in before we brought the like 21s and 23s out, I'd probably go for the 23s on here, simply because they are that angry. It's not that the fact that they're massive. I mean, yeah, there is some decent ones in. They're probably averaging, I'm going to say 4 to 7 pounds or something like that, but oh my days, you'll see how angry they are, folks. Absolutely ridiculous. So that's why at the time I used our heaviest elastic was a 19s. It's tensioned up a little bit as well, just so when I hook a fish, you'll see me ship back nice and quick. So first things first, elastic, nice and strong. The next thing is our main line. Now, I'm not going sort of like, I mean, obviously we do like a lot thicker lines than this. I'm using the 0.21 power line, so very, very strong, robust line, which is a must on these kind of venues, on these kind of snake lakes where you're fishing into sort of like snags, if you like. So 0.21 main line, and you'll see there we've got a good, it's about 3 foot between my pole tip, I'm going to bring my float down. Pole tip and float, we've got a good 3 foot. Now, float wise, I absolutely adore, even though we're fishing shallow, but I'll fish these sort of in the edges as well, obviously in a bigger version, our Carp shallow floats. I think they're superb in that they're so strong with the line going through the body, and that is what you want. Honestly, you wait to see these fish fight, folks. Ridiculous. So line through the body, nice and strong, lovely and stable, nice thick bristle. Now just under the float, I've got my 3 number 10 stots and not shots, yeah? Anytime I want to move the depth, I need to be able to move my shots, and that's why I'm using stots, because they're much easier to use, much easier to move on the line than what shots are. Now I've set this rig at probably, what's that, 13 or 14 inches or something like that, but as with all forms of shallow fishing, it's all about trial and error. Where you'd have, you know, multiples of top kits, another carp there right next to Zolt, where you'd have multiples of top kits set up for your F1 shallow fishing, you know, sort of 5, 6, 7 all at different depths, so you're maintaining the accuracy with your pole tip to your float. With carp, one rig does all. I say it's a bit of a hybrid one rig does all. So we've set that at that, and then hook length wise, you know what I'm like, folks. Straight out the packet, we've got a 14s KKM to 0.19. Yep, one of them bad boys, straight on, 4 inches. Doesn't make a blind bit of difference. So different with F1 fishing, you'd be on like your 3 or even your 2-inch one. But what I can do with that, you know, if I, that is ridiculous over there now. If I saw fish sort of backing off my feed a little bit, because what I want to do is, my main amount of feed I want to get around my float, but inevitably there's going to be some feed that goes past where I'm fishing, and that gets fish obviously preoccupied in the reeds, but also likewise there's going to be feed dropping behind where I'm fishing. So if I can see fish swirling in there and I think they're coming to the noise, then what I'll do is I'll start slapping for them. That's the beauty of this style of fishing, you know what I mean? Yeah, we want to get them shallow, but it's what sort of style that you fish for them. Hook bait, I'm feeding pellets, so I'm just going to band a pellet, but I've got some Robin Reds, which are superb hook baits, a little bit heavier than normal ones, but I've also got some 6mm Coppins. Just the thin perfect pellets, nice and simple, and I've put a little bit of my favourite salted caramel flavouring on them. Just because, you know, it gives me confidence and it smells amazing as well. The wasps love it as well though, folks, so be careful with them. And yeah, that's the finished rig, nothing complicated with it. I'm going to start with the shots underneath my float, and you'll see me like lifting and dropping, lifting and dropping. The first thing I'll do though is have a good scan around and see if I can see any muggers, but I can't at the minute. So I think without further ado, we'll go and we'll try and catch one. So on with a 6mm pellet, nice and simple. I baited it for about 10 minutes before, yeah, there's one down here actually. I baited it for about 10 minutes before I started talking to you lovely lot, and I've only fed it, what, a couple of times then, but I can see fish swirling over there already. Yes, you can see me feeding. That one's gone a bit wayward into the reeds. That one's perfect. So the main amount of feed I want to get around my float, but also, you know, obviously, inevitably, there's going to be some that sort of falls back. I can see a fish coming into this already. So, ship out, make sure our sections are on. Oh, look at him there. I might just have a go for this quick mugger here. Oh, he's come back a bit. Go on then. Nope, nope, nope. Now go for this quick mugger. Go on then. Go on, he's got to have it. Yes, he's got to. Look how angry they are. Did you see how blooming angry they were? But that's all from, folks, obviously me feeding that bait and the fish getting nice and confident because I haven't been snared any. This is absolutely ridiculous. Because they're not used to getting caught, they don't know what they're doing. I think that generally, obviously, they aren't used to getting hooked. So the first thing they think of is obviously sheer panic and they just want to make a bolt for it. The fact that it's not very deep down the middle of the lake as well will be another reason why they tend to shoot off and obviously just go for cover. So with carp, what I always like to do as well, folks, different for F1s, is unship twice. Because the worst thing in the world you can do is get this fish all the way back to your top kit and for the fish to suddenly shoot off. You can't bring sort of, you know, you rest your pole and then follow the fish out. But by unshipping twice, you can do. Oh, he's not happy. He's still on a bloody mission, this one is. Do I need to put sections on? No, Zolt will shout at me if I put sections on. I'm just going to keep that nice and low. But what I am going to do is put some bait in over there. Because I've spooked a few fish, I want to make sure, obviously again, this is my match head on me now. People either side of me and I was playing the fish for any amount of time, then obviously I'll be spooking them fish and, you know, the anglers around me be nicking them. So I want to make sure that I keep that bait going in. They're like, you'd think they're all blooming £20 the way they fight, but they're not. I mean, they're a good stamp, but they're just turbocharged. And there's a lot of instance in here as well, folks, a lot of ghosties. Oh, he's a nice one, actually. Nice mirror. There's usually lots of commons in here, but you can see already, like, I've just put them other couple of catapults in there, priming my swim for the next one. I've already got them reeds flickering a little bit. So I promise I'll fish proper for this next one, but this is why you like, you know, this rig is so good in the fact that you can use it as a little babby mugging rig as well, and you can't miss out on these muggers because they're always bigger fish. I am going to have to do it, folks. I'm sorry. I do apologise. I do apologise. Sorry, Zolt. Sorry, Zolt. I've got to put sections on. Don't tell anyone, will you? Oh, actually, no. Can't do that, folks, because we're live on blooming camera, aren't we? So he's shaking his head. He's not happy. I'm going to have to tell everyone. I'm going to have to tell Jamie, aren't I? I'm going to have to admit it that I put sections on. Once you're committed, folks, you know, I'll put sections on. I've just broke that rule. Sorry, but you'll see why when you see the size of it. It is a nice one. It is a nice one. Oh, look at that. There's a mouth come up right where Zolt is standing there. That is like ridiculous over there. So many fish there. And that's what I mean about these kind of snake lakes with carp. Excuse me, cover. You've got to get to that cover. Oh, he's a nice one. Like that bit of scoopage then. I wasn't expecting anything that large, but again, that's the beauty of them mugged fish. The mugged fish are usually the bigger fish. So let me get him unhooked. If we can, I think we need a chub disgorger on him. Go on, the chub disgorger. We'll get him unhooked. And I'm going to show you, lovely lot, of what we're dealing with on here. Let me just give him a quick rinse. Ba-doing! Go on, the mirrors. But absolutely immaculate fish like that. Look at the state of that. Getting on that, Zolt. Ooh, absolutely stunning. It's probably, I'd say he's getting on for £8 him. Chunky, fit fish. Not really been caught whatsoever before, but he can go back. Beautiful start. So already it just gives you that confidence, you know what I mean? Off to an absolute flyer. Change that hook bait every time, and this is the beauty of using stots. They will move. So move them back up to the float, and then we'll put a new hook bait on. Any slime, as always, folks, get rid of it. The other thing that I've not mentioned yet as well is obviously the fact that, you know, I fed that a couple of times whilst I was playing the fish. It's just before we go out again now. I'm going to give it sort of two or three goes with a catapult. That was horrendous, Andrew. Nearly it's up then, that's better. See what I mean about that main spray? I've got a little gap there and already can see fish flickering the reeds behind it. So just give it a little bit of priming first, but again, the meerkat in me, folks, that wants to go mugging all the time, snaring these fish on the top. I'm looking around all the time. There's one right the way up there, but that's in someone else's peg. We're not allowed to fish with him. So this is what I mean about this rig being so versatile now, in that I'm going to lay it in. Now, I know with a 6mm coppings on, that float is going to settle to sort of like, oh, I missed that one, talking to you lot. That float is going to settle to sort of like halfway down the bristle. If I was on a reed or anything like that, look at that mouth there. If I was on a reed, then obviously I'm going to show the body of the float. And that's the beauty of this style of fishing. So you see me pole tip right over my float, and it's just them little flicks up and down. Occasionally, if it was like, you know, a lot brighter, then what would happen is you'd have to get closer into the reeds and maybe obviously shorten your line up a little bit. But in general, this rig, you know, it's served me so well over the years on venues like this. Occasionally I'll just leave it, and the other thing I'll do as well is obviously change around with the depth, and that's the beauty of, you know, carp fishing as opposed to F1 fishing. I can come back, and if obviously I'm not getting bites, that generally means that the fish are a little bit deeper. If you're, you know, missing bites, or, you know, getting the odd swirl or foul looking fish, then obviously that's telling you that the fish are shallower. But that's what I want to be doing, that quick movement every second or two, just lifting that float out and dropping it, and it's just being relentless with that feed, with them pellets. It's all about the noise. Yes, I can see this fish in the reeds. So what I'm going to do is just give it that little bit longer. Then what I might have to do is just go a little bit further into the reeds, if you like. But you can see what I was on about before with that spray behind me float. If I saw a fish swirling this side of me float, then what this rig enables me to do is to come back, and then I can start slapping for the fish. I'm going to try that for a bit because I saw a swirl there. Then there you go. Oh, we missed him. Let's try for him. So he's not spooked, he's still there. Now the beauty of carp, whereas F1s obviously it's all about getting that column of bait going down. With carp, generally if you just keep making that commotion, not always slapping, then usually they pretty much stay there. Putting that feed over a bigger area, just getting fish over a big sort of like wide span, if you like, and that's what you want with carp. So ship back nice and quick, unship. Oh, he's a neat little babby one. You want that angry him, to be fair, but that's why you need an heavy elastic, just in case. Oh, a little babby one. Little babby one. It just shows you, doesn't it, what you can do. Little babby mirrors! And obviously the beauty of fishing heavy, it just gives you so much confidence. You know when you've hooked one, ain't nothing going to happen. Obviously, a little bit different on this lake in the fact that them reeds are sticking out a couple of metres. So where's he hooked? He's hooked in the bottom lip. Now usually I'd say with beautiful mirror, 2 pounds, 12 ounces in. Usually, like, say if it was F1 fishing, you hooked him in the bottom lip, that generally means that the fish want to be shallower. But I don't know what it means with carp, whether it's the same, who knows? Who knows? I don't think, like, obviously with no shots on or anything on this and how it's falling, you're going to catch him anyway, you know what I mean? You really are. So again, I didn't put any bait in that time when I was playing that fish because I didn't have it on for long, you know what I mean? It wasn't a big fish, just brought him straight in. But it shows, obviously, me working that area and keeping busy. So I dropped back short because I saw a fish swirl off my feed. Had a couple of slaps for it, missed a bite, and then nothing. And I've gone back out into my main feed and he's had it straight away. It's all about building the confidence up with these fish. It does make a big difference. Right, let's go back in again. Check your sections. That's the most, particularly when you're slapping, make sure you're checking your sections because they will work loose. I'm going to go right into them reeds again. Back to the original spot and lift and drop. Literally just lifting and dropping all the time, scouring your peg, you know, making sure you're keeping an eye on what's going on. obviously we've done lots and lots of videos, loads out there on, you know, targeting sort of F1s and carps on, you know, normal snake lakes, fishing onto mud banks and that, but you don't always have it. There's a lot of venues now that are, you know, nicely overgrown. I think it's important that you know, fishing them proper. So obviously it is heavier gear. Your tackle, cheeky, will take a lot of punishment, so you've got to be geared up for them. Sun-wise, obviously, the brighter it is, then usually the more in the cover the fish will go. But as soon as it comes a little bit overcast, then you'll be able to draw them out. So I'm not going to lift it as often now. Every sort of 2 or 3 seconds maybe. Again, no real need for me to change depth at the minute. I've had, what have we had? That was a bit wayward, that one. Edit that one's out. What have we had? Sort of like three bites, I suppose, at that depth. Oh, there's one just coming in, just under the surface to me left hand side. If he comes a little bit closer, then we'll have a go for him. It's all a sight thing as well, I suppose, this. You're waiting for them reeds to start knocking, and then inevitably you usually get a bite. So because we've got nothing, no signs there, what I'm going to do is come back a little bit and just try slapping it, see if they're coming to that noise. Longest you want to leave it, you know, settled, no more than 10 seconds. There you go. Once that pellet's at the bottom of that fall, wallop it over again. And I say, if that's not working, you know, you tried your slapping. Because what can happen, obviously, if there's not loads there competing, you can feed too much and push them down too deep. So what I'm going to do now for the next sort of like minute, I'm just going to sit there slapping or lifting the rig out, plopping it in. Just using that as my noise. See, there's a carp there now actually, there's one coming into the right as well. Using that as my noise rather than the loose feed. Oh, there's one there. So I'm going to, oh, he's right on it. Oh, I spooked him. Oh, I spooked him. I shouldn't have moved it. There's another one behind it, but I can't get to him. So I'm not going to feed for a bit. So I'm going to go and get him there. Looks like a nice common. Get on his head. There he is. He must see it. Surely he must see it. Oh, he's bypassed it. Get back to our original spot. See, they're coming into its ease over here now, this common. Let me see if we can just catch him. Put it in front of his nose there. Nope, he swam past it, so I'm not going to go too much out of my pay. I did have a fish. Oh, there's one there then. Where is he? He's over there. Go on then. How's he not had that? Lift and drop it. There's fish everywhere now. Coming into that feed, I can see quite a few to me. To my left, there's one over by the reeds there. Go on. Go on. How was he not having it? Ooh. Come back in and we'll start loose feeding again. So obviously they're coming to that feed. Now I've just sort of like, you know, backed off that feed a little bit. That's all we need. Right, there's two coming in here. Go on. Go on. Go on. One just in the reeds there. It's a little bit out of my feed zone, but it shows where they'll come to. He's on. He is on, and sit back nice and quick. Just shows, because obviously we've got such a big spread on that feed, which is amazing, and I'm convinced it's what you need for carp, because obviously the size of them compared to obviously F1s, you need them over a bigger area. You know, there's another one there waiting for me. F1s, it's all about getting that column going in. Carp, you want them over a big area. Yeah? No point just sort of like having it in one little bobby spot, spread it over a big area. And obviously some of these pellets, certainly with the 4 mils, that's why I'd always prefer to feed a 4 mil, because we're going to be going over a bigger area. They will stick to obviously the reeds and everything. Yeah, all the sort of like the slime and what have you on the reeds, the pellets will stick to them, and that's why you'll get them, you know, coming up, sort of gobbing and mouthing the reeds, getting the excess bait that's not sunk. And that's why it's such a good style of fishing. I absolutely adore it. There's loads of lakes like this up and down the country, folks, that are, you know what I mean, they're not like your proper typical snake lake, if you like. He's a beautiful one, him. I think with that sun coming out, we'll end on that one. I'm just going to put a little bit more bait in. Just because I'm going to carry on, folks, I absolutely adore it. I'm going to show you this one. Beautiful common, or popular. £4, 6 ounces. Absolutely stunning little fish here. Proper turbocharged. I'm going to put him back. And then I'm going to say, get out there and give it a go, folks. Remember, main thing, make sure you're geared up for them. As I said, there's loads of lakes like this, even if it's like an open water that's got like a narrow arm or something like this, if it's overgrown. Make sure your gear's up for the job. So yeah, strong lines, because carp aren't bothered. When you get them into like that kind of feeding frenzy, it's not like F1s that you've got to scale down a little bit. Carp will just see the bait and nail it. Smaller baits, but bigger hook baits, you know, so you can pick them out and make a bit of a different noise with it. Change your hook bait colour. Obviously we've not had to there. This is only a short session today. We've not had to change bait colour, but 100% I would do. And just stick with it. You know, obviously with the sun coming out now, the fish will be towards cover. Nothing's blown down the middle like I thought it would do. We've got some bubbles there, but that's just from obviously them fish sort of like splashing around when I was playing them. But usually that's what happens on these kind of venues. With it being so soft down the middle, they'll blow there. But again, I suppose that just highlights the fact that they're still over there where Zolt is. Just highlights the fact where these fish want to be in these kind of lakes, these sort of overgrown sort of snake lakes, if you like, into that cover. You know, just keep on with it. Feed in, presenting the rig right, and then if you do see the muggers, have a go for them, because they're getting so much confidence up and you will nail them. But yeah, get out there, folks, give it a go, and let us know how you get on. But honestly, it's such exciting fishing, but you've got to make sure you're geared up for them. Give it a go, folks.